Hey, yo, welcome to another episode of This Ain't Practice. I am your DJ, Shad, and he's the rapper.
I am the MC, Chris J.
Let's go. How you been doing, man? I know it's been
I've
a
been
minute.
good, man. It's been a minute, man.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, man. We had some work conflicts, man, and
man, sick health conflicts.
fact. You good now, right? Man, back to be
I'm good.
100%, or are you close?
I'm like 95%. I'm 95%. Like I still got that little annoying cough and scratchy throat and all that. You know, I'm no Luther right now, but I'll be all right.
Man, you know how that is though, man. There's some stuff floating around, man. I don't know a few people I work with and friends I talk to and stuff, man. They're kind of down for the count for a little bit, man. So hopefully everybody out there is taking care of themselves.
Yep. Tis the spring season, man. We're getting there. So, these viruses they going hard, man. It's fourth quarter for them. So
It is. Now, do you get hit with the allergies?
yeah, oh yeah. But I don't get those until September. Like end of August,
okay.
end of August, September. Yeah, because it's like hay fever. I think that's what they call it.
Okay.
I get
Now
hay. I get hay
that pollen was hitting on Friday, man. It got me on Friday. It was
That's right.
yeah,
It's ought to be murking you.
yeah, man. Pollen got me on Friday, man. So I had to hug the bench on Friday. I got off, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Did you pop one of them? Is it Zyrtex or?
I did, man. Got some Z's, man. I fell asleep on man. I thought the Wolves were gonna pull out that game against the Bucks. Man, we'll get to that, man. But I was in the middle of watching that, and next thing I know, man, the Bucks and the Wolves were watching me on the couch getting some rest. So
get some good rest, catching them Z's.
Facts.
I feel that, man. When you didn't miss much. So, well, yeah, we'll get to it, man. We'll get to it, man. So let's get this thing rolling, bro. What we got on the docket?
Well, man, we know it's been a couple weeks since the Super Bowl, so we don't necessarily need to recap that, but we know Kansas City won. Pat Mahomes got his third Super Bowl MVP. Saw debates, been a debate since they won. Is he the GOAT? Is he in the GOAT territory? What are your thoughts? Where do you rank Pat Mahomes as far as the all-time greats in the overall pantheon list?
So he has won 3. How many has he been to? Has he been to 5 or 4?
I believe 4, and he's won 3.
So he won 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
it's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. He's only dropped 1.
Right.
He's been to the postseason. How long has he been in the league? 6 years?
I believe so. I think did he come in at 15? Yeah. Because that first year he didn't start. He was sitting behind Alex Smith that first year. He didn't start that first year. So
okay. So so since he's been starting, he's gone to the postseason every year he started. How many he's gone to 4? So he's only missed two Super Bowls. Let's say 6 years. He's been starting. Dude, he's there. He's in the conversation, and he's getting there fast. He's getting there faster than Brady, who is considered the GOAT to me, and many others. I don't think he's the GOAT, but he is definitely on his way to GOAT status. He's getting there fast too. He really so Brady has 7. He's won 3. He's got some ways to go. But
okay, so let me ask you this: what would he have to do for you to say, all right, unquestioned, he's the GOAT?
He's got to get 7 rings.
Ooh,
I don't really care about the MVP, but he's got to get 7 rings quicker than Brady did, which is possible because remember Brady went 10 years without getting a ring. At
decade,
he won a couple. Yeah, then he went a decade without winning any. So if Mahomes can stay on this track and get that quicker, I'll put him in the conversation. I know. Well, what's the difference between LeBron being your GOAT and he has 1 less championships than Michael Jordan? That's a completely different situation. But Yeah, I think if he gets to, it's got to be 7. He's got to get him quicker. That'll make him the GOAT. In my book. What do you think?
Okay.
What do you
Man,
think?
I don't. It's, for me, it's not just the championships. It's just also the level of play. And I just think this stretch from somebody that's coming to the league, because he's the first round pick. Brady was what, a 6th round pick. So there were much more expectations on Mahomes coming out the gate than there was on Brady. So I look at it, if Mahomes keeps it going on the trajectory that he's on, I think he will be. I think it's a little bit too soon right now, but like you said, he's in that neighborhood. He hasn't gotten in the street yet. If we can use that analogy, he's moving the neighborhood. He hasn't moved up to the penthouse street yet. But once he gets on that street, then I think he can definitely do it. He just needs to put in some more work. But I mean, what is it? 6 straight AFC Championship games that he's at least been to, I believe.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
That's the same. 2 regular season MVP. So he needs to get some more of those under his belt as well. But he's there.
Yeah, he's definitely, like you said, he's in whatever. Okay, yeah, I think we're saying the same thing. That your bro is too soon. Can't be the GOAT yet. Nah, but he's definitely, he's got that GOAT smell.
Man, he's there. Hey, when they got the barbecue going in the back, you ain't been invited to the barbecue yet, but you can smell it, man.
You can smell it, yeah.
Smell it. The burgers and the brats, man. You smell them, they're there.
Yeah, you taste in the air. You taste it,
right? You taste it, right?
There.
but man, you ain't got that. You ain't got that invite yet, man. You looking at your phone. That invite ain't come yet, so he's there, man.
Yeah, he definitely. It's hard, man, to even get to the Super Bowl. A lot of people don't ever make it, and the fact that he's done what he's done, that's crazy. Like, I have never in my lifetime seen the Vikings go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Skinny Man, what's up?
Well, we got Skinny Man in the building.
Yeah, good.
Also, Brady had Manning as a rival. I think Burrow and Allen have to solidify themselves as true rivals to Mahomes. Mahomes right now. Yeah, so it's Mahomes right now. Yeah, and I think Allen gets a little bit too much publicity. But we can get that. We can get into that
right
later, because like Lamar Jackson, like
I was getting ready to say, you got to throw him into that mix too.
Yeah, you got to throw him in there, but he hasn't won. He hasn't won anything. Allen hasn't won anything. I think Lamar Jackson is better than both Burrow and Allen, but you never see. And we were talking about this the other day, a couple episodes ago. You never see Lamar Jackson in any. He has no spotlight. Like, there's no. I don't. Like, he's in no commercials. He's not a recognizable face. Yeah. So. I heard a comparison. Who was it? Penny Hardaway. He didn't like to speak lines and things like that, so they came up with a way to do it, and have him do his endorsements and things like that. Like, they had Chris Rock and I think Tyra Banks, or like,
oh yeah, the little penny doll,
the little penny thing. Yeah. So and they were just saying that, like, he doesn't have that star power, like, as far as like on screen, but. I mean, do something for the guy. Like,
you're talking a two-time MVP winner. Like, you gotta market that guy more. You because you can't tell me. I was in a barbershop yesterday. I was talking to my barber, and he said one of his clients, he brought his son in to get a haircut, and he was asking, his son plays football, and he said the son said he plays quarterback, and he said, well, who do you are you a good passer? And he was like, nah, I play like Lamar Jackson. So you see the impact he's having on the youth, right? So you got to do a better job of marketing him.
I think so too. I think so too. I do like that rivalry between Allen and Burrow, because they kind of have, I don't know, they just remind me a lot of each other, kind of like Brady and Manning. But I also like to see a rivalry build between Mahomes and Jackson. I don't think we're there yet. But Lamar's got to win before, you know what I mean? Before Mahomes would even consider him a rival. So
I agree.
But yeah, that's that. All right.
San Francisco now, the defensive coordinator, man, they blame the loss. It looks like on the defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks. He gets fired. I'm confused, because anybody that watched that game, man, they had Mahomes rattled in the first half.
Yeah.
I don't get now. If you want to say, the San Francisco defense didn't look good against, those prior games, Green Bay and Detroit, they gave up some points. They gave up a lot of, but in that Super Bowl game, I disagree. I think that's more on the coach, Kyle Shanahan. I don't like the offense that he played. He was letting my namesake Chris Jones, he was letting him get some free releases on Brock Purdy. And I didn't like the offensive game plan that they were running. I don't think Purdy got the ball out fast enough. Christian McCaffrey had a costly fumble in the first half when they were marching. Remember that? Right early in the first drive, I believe he had a costly fumble. So to me, to blame it on Steve Wilks and to fire him, I think that's a joke. Like I think that's a joke. What's your thoughts on that?
Dude, same. Because they had that game won, and they held them to how many points? They held it to like 19.
I think it was 19.
Yeah, they was 19 because was it tied up? Because it went overtime. Was it tied up at 17 in regulation? No, that can't be right.
It didn't know because they scored the touchdown. They won by because remember they didn't even need to kick the extra point. They won on that kind of that walk-off touchdown.
Yeah, but no, they held they held them to excellent a low score. They basically made the 49ers made some bad decisions and they let them stay in the game. But I think that was coaching. I don't think that was defense. The defense did what they were supposed to do. I mean, what else do you want from them?
Right.
Okay, so I'm bad at this. I was today years old when I learned that. I was like, they did what? I was like, you gotta be, and I just kind of went over the game in my head. I'm like, they didn't lose that game. Coach
they did. And think about this. You remember it was looking like for a while if KC was going to win the game, the MVP might have been the kicker. Because remember, the kicker was kicking those long field goals. They weren't even KC wasn't even they weren't even scoring touchdowns. So again, I ask you, like, what more would you want from your defensive coordinator than what you got? And what I think is they lost. Now remember Kyle Shanahan. Remember he was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons. Remember when they blew that lead when I was with you and Shell watching the Super Bowl? Remember I bounced and it was 28-3, and then you called me. You were like, "Bro, it's tied," and I'm like, "There's no way." He was the guy that kept calling the plays with Matt Ryan throwing the football instead of running the football. When you got that type of lead, you don't need to keep throwing the football. You got your enemy is the clock, but it's also obviously the Patriots, but also the clock. So I just think Shanahan, he's been taking a beating, and he took a beating with how he called that Super Bowl game overall.
Right.
So I think they use Steve Wilks as the scapegoat, for losing that game. And I just think that's bogus, man.
I think it's bogus too. And they didn't need a scapegoat. They could have ran it back to what they had. Just run it back what you had. Yeah, we know that I don't. And we talked about this. I don't think the Kansas City won that game. You know what I'm saying? Like the 49ers gave it to them. I don't think they won.
I agree. There's no reason. The way that, because KC, they weren't blocking. I don't think they prepared well, in particular in the first half. They did make some second half adjustments. But if you look at that game, San Francisco should have had a much larger lead in that game than they did, even going into halftime. So, again, to me, that starts with the head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy, man. But think about it. I mean, you can't get rid of the head coach got him there. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think they should have just learned from this and ran it back next year. Same coaching staff. They didn't need to make any adjustments. They need to fire anybody. Who else? Yeah, run it back. And who are you going to put in there that's better?
And that's the thing. One of the rumors was that coach for the Chargers, Brandon Staley, the head coach that got fired, he was on a short list for the 4. And I'm like, how can you hire that? The Chargers defense was trash, and that's supposed to be his specialist. How in the world can you replace Steve Wilks? And it hasn't happened yet. And I don't, I haven't kept up with it the last couple of days, so I don't know if they officially hired anyone. But I'm like, if you bring in Brandon Staley and replace Steve Wilks, like that's just bad. That's bad all the way around. So
yeah, that's a downgrade. That's a big downgrade. That's a big downgrade.
Facts. So what's your thoughts on Brock Purdy?
So we've discussed Brock Purdy before, and I like him. I
Okay.
like him, but I don't. He's not. He's not the playmaker that like a Mahomes type quarterback is.
Mhm.
That Lamar Jackson is. That Hurts is. He's not a. He's not a playmaker. He's got weapons, and he
Mhm.
utilizes them very well. But I don't think he has the ability to change the outcome of a game per se, like using his legs or gunslinger or anything like that. He's just kind of there. He's just kind of there. I don't. Is he athletic?
I mean,
Like
he's more athletic than I thought he was, and then you because I've seen him scramble and make some plays, extend drives, but I just
okay,
here I'll kind of give you a quick story. So during the Super Bowl, Cam Newton, he's got his show. He was live from like kind of had like a media central kind of platform where all the different like podcasts and stuff shows were out there at the Super Bowl. He had Warren Sapp on. So him and Warren
okay,
Sapp were kind of going back and forth because Cam's biggest thing is he's saying he called him a game manager. He's like, I'm not saying
right,
being a game manager is a derogatory term.
right,
So he asked Warren Sapp, he had Warren Sapp on the show. Warren Sapp said, well, I think you're a big running back.
yeah,
So
okay.
he's basically saying to,
I saw a
yeah,
piece of that. Okay, okay,
right. So then he's saying, you're taking what I'm saying eye contact, you're taking the wrong way. I'm not saying, and I get what he's saying, because if you take those pieces away, and obviously if you take pieces away from any quarterback, good pieces, they're not going to play as well, but he's not going to carry you. And I
right,
think sometimes, like you were talking about, he's not your Brady's, your Burrows, your Allens, your Lamar Jacksons, your Jalen Hurts, even though he struggled for the last part of the season. He's
right.
not, to me, in that caliber quarterback, but at one point, man, he was viewed as, the front runner for the MVP.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I never understood that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was getting more credit than he deserved when it came to that. And I'm just gonna just throw this up here real quick. Getting main the main. McCaffrey had a fumble though when they were about to score. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was early in the game, right? When he had that fumble. Yep.
First half. The
Yep.
opening drive. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Because he broke for a long one and then he fumbled after that, right?
Yes. Yep. I think it was
Yeah.
over on the sideline, towards the sideline, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yep. And then Skinny Man said Atlanta was following the script. Yeah. Yeah, I heard that Atlanta was following the script. But there's a point in time when they come off the script, right? Don't they? Like,
Well, you have to
game
you
situation.
got to make in-game adjustments. Like
Right.
I get the script, but the script, you cannot tell me the script had you up 28-3 on New England.
Right.
There's no way, there's no way your script had that. If you told me your script had it, you're a lie. Like, I'm not buying
Right.
that. So like that's when you got to make adjustments.
Yeah. Exactly. Like in halftime when they were down by that much and you peeled out, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's when they're like, okay, this is what we have for that situation. Now we're gonna switch it up to this situation. Run the ball.
Right.
Burn the
Right.
clock.
Run the ball more, because here's the thing. It's kind of like what we talked about with Mahomes. It's the same thing with Brady. Brady cannot beat you sitting over there by the Gatorade jugs. He can't, and that's where you want him at. You want Brady over there on the sideline watching. You
Right.
don't want him between those lines because he's going to get busy. We know what
Make it a
Brady does. So, right.
Yep.
Right. So
I agree. All right. So getting back to Brock Purdy though, when he was having that with Cam and who was he talking to again?
Warren Sapp.
Cam and
Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp. And
Yeah.
he was having that. I saw a snippet. I think you may have sent it to me too.
Mhm.
And he called him a big, like he was kind of getting ready to go in on Cam, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, Sharp. He don't hold his tongue, right? So he'll send an arrow at you, whether it's in person or
Yeah.
or online. He'll speak his mind.
Right. And so he was calling him a big running back, and I like how Cam stood his ground though, and
Mhm.
he was finally able to get it through to Warren Sapp what he was trying to say. So right, like
Well, he brought up Brad Johnson. You remember
Johnson.
Warren Sapp
Yeah.
won that championship with Brad Johnson down in Tampa, but Brad Johnson was like a game manager. Brad Johnson was not. Man, you remember when he was here? He was Brad Johnson was cool, but then when they got Randall, Randall came and Randall took that job from him. I think Brad might have got hurt, and Randall came in, and then that was lights out.
It's lights out. And he was still a playmaker at that time. It was very. It was the twilight of Randall Cunningham career, but Kendall, burns the brightest right before it goes out, and he was at that point in his career.
Facts.
And and they had that amazing, like I said, that amazing run. But yeah, so they were familiar with Brad Johnson and what he can do on the field. And I agree, he is a game manager, and if we want to make that Purdy is a little bit of the same to me.
Yeah.
I mean, and Brock Purdy is he was a third string, right? He was third string. He's behind.
It was
two quarterbacks.
Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in the draft, and those players, and that's what makes what he's doing dope. But in the sense of, I still think there is a reason he was drafted where he was drafted at. Now he's clearly outplayed where he was drafted at, but he fell into the perfect. Because you know what I mean. Then they traded for McCaffrey. You get the best running back in the league. You got the best offensive lineman in the league, and Trent Williams, one of the best offensive lines, period. And then just the different weapons, with Kittle and tight end, and Deebo Samuels and Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, I mean, man, they got so many weapons on that team.
So many.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't ask to be in a better position. And again, that's not a knock on him, but I just don't think if you put him, okay, let's throw him in Minnesota. You would take him in Minnesota over those quarterbacks that played after Cousins got hurt, right? But
absolutely,
is he going to do? Now he's got Justin Jefferson. To me, is a better wide receiver clearly than anyone on San Francisco. But he would have more on his shoulders playing for the Vikings. He would the load he would have to carry would be much greater. Would he be able to do that?
No, I agree. He'd be able to make adjustments out there in the field. Call the proper plays. Call it audibles, read the defense, all that good stuff. He'd be able to do that. You know what I mean? But like the line isn't that great, so he wouldn't have the time that he has with San Francisco. And like you say, he doesn't have all the weapons because there is no running back. You know what I mean? They're like, who's your running back? so
and you make a great point there, because if that were the case, I wouldn't worry about the run.
No,
I would, I'd have like, your 4 down linemen, depending on defense you run. I have your 4 down linemen, and then maybe 1 linebacker in the box. The rest I'm putting out in coverage.
Yep.
And I'm saying, I'm going to make you run the ball and beat me. Or make you try to throw in a tight coverage, and let's see if you're really about that. Let's see, because Mahomes is about throwing in that tight. Allen will do it. Some of these other quarterbacks, Burrow will do it. I don't know if Purdy is that type of player to make plays like that. I don't think so, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him in that situation, because the way the CBA is set up, the 49ers could not give him a contract extension this year if they wanted to. He has to play another year underneath, and I think he was only going to make like $850,000 next season, which is because he was the last pick in the draft, and this is a collectively bargained agreement between the owners and the players union. So he's got to play another year underneath that contract, and then after that, then he can get his money. So I want to see, are they going to franchise tag him, offer him a contract extension, or is he going to ask for like, hey, I balled out for the last few years, went to an NFC championship game, went to a Super Bowl. Like, I want to be paid like a top 5 quarterback. Like, if he starts asking for that, are they going to let him walk? Are they going to trade him? Like, it'll be curious to see what transpires with that.
That would be interesting, because he's one that you could put on the chopping block, or the trade, the trade block, or
you'll get some stuff for him. Yeah,
definitely. And you can just kind of rebuild, because you have the weapons. They've shown you can just throw anybody in there at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just throw anybody who knows how to, he knows how to do the job. To throw him in there.
And I wouldn't be surprised. We got a draft coming up in about 60 days. I wouldn't be surprised to see the 49ers, like maybe 4th or 5th round, take another quarterback and have one on deck. Start grooming a young quarterback, because as we've seen with all the injuries and stuff, you can never have too many quarterbacks on deck. So I can see them doing that, spending a draft pick on a quarterback, and if they believe in him and Purdy wants to, start acting cute or whatever, maybe ship him off, man.
Yeah. He's, out of everybody in that offense, I think he's the most expendable.
I agree.
That that, so I would Cam. I don't think that calling somebody a game manager is necessarily a bad thing.
I
I
don't
I
either.
thought I've always thought that Flacco was a game manager. Like, when they won that Super Bowl with the
Mhm.
Ravens, I thought it was a game manager. Now you and Skinny put me up on game. They're like, well, he kind of had a cannon for an arm too, though. I'm like, okay, all right,
Oh,
that's fair.
his dude's arm.
Yeah.
He's had one of the strongest arms, I think. But when I looked, they talked about the combine and just overall strength is coming in the NFL. I think he's had one of the strongest arms. But man, he had an elite defense there. They could run the football as well. But that's not.
Mhm.
He made key throws during Super Bowl, so you can't knock that.
Right, right, and he came back again twilight of his career, just this
Hmm.
past season, and show what he could do. So yeah, I mean
Right.
the real Flacco came out in the end, but he did pretty good leading up to that moment. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. No,
Well,
I just think I think overall with Purdy, I want to see him for another year. If he duplicates this again next year, and because the 49ers it's kind of like Super Bowl or bust, if you look at their trajectory, kind of how they put, how the pressure was on the Eagles coming into this past season. It was like
right,
if you didn't get back to the Super Bowl, it was kind of San Francisco is in that same realm where they've got that window right now where they got to get in the Super Bowl. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Purdy coming into
yeah,
next year, and it's not just the pressure of winning; it's the pressure of him performing well so he can get his first big NFL contract. I mean, you start talking about generational money, 40, $50 million a year, guaranteed. He could
yeah,
easily get a $200 million guaranteed contract.
right, right,
You're
yeah, he
talking
could.
generational wealth right there. So,
Yeah, the way they're paying quarterbacks now, yeah, he could easily get that, man. He could easily get that,
yeah.
and some folks, would be chomping at the bit to get him. Like you said, you brought up the whole Vikings thing, man. I would, yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
Over Cousins at this point. Well, so,
Agree.
but yeah,
I agree.
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them. But that whole MVP talk, I that
Mhm.
I don't know what I thought that was crazy. I never thought that
I
he.
thought it was wild too. I know they were winning, and he did
Yeah,
have some, but he had some duds in there too. He did have some good games in there, but and that MVP, man, if you really think about it, it's so subjective, right? Because
right,
is it the guy that's got the best stats? Is it the guy that's on a team who was struggling last year and then now their win differential is much better this year? Like it's so subjective. Or if you take him away from that team, how do they do? Now again, I always hate that point because it's like, well, who are you replacing them with? Yeah, you're taking them away, but
correct,
who's the quarterback that's coming in there? Is it a
right,
comparable quarterback? But then that means he's not as valuable, or if you take him and you put a quarterback in there and then there's a significant drop off, okay, then his value is more greatly stated. So I just
right.
think that's just a subjective phrase when you start talking about MVP.
Agreed, agreed. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. I saw something pretty cool in here again. Today, years old. When I learned this,
All right, all right.
Eric Eric Bieniemy.
College,
What's the story on that, man? What happened?
man, it doesn't look like he got any bites in the NFL. Clearly, not any head coaching interviews or opportunities, and I don't see where he got the chance to be an offensive coordinator, which is just wild. I wanted the Eagles to bring him to Philadelphia and be their offensive coordinator, but he's going back to college. He actually used to be on the UCLA staff. I believe he's from the South Central Los Angeles area.
Okay.
Went to college in Colorado, but Chip Kelly, remember Chip Kelly used to coach the Eagles?
Yep, sure do.
Okay,
Yep.
he quit his job at UCLA to go be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Just kind of weird situation. I think he got tired of the recruiting, the NIL in college, the boosters, all
Yeah.
that type. He's not the most personable coach, individual. So, that
Right.
fundraising and all that. I don't think he's about that. I think he's more so about being an X's and O's. Well, in college, you got to do a lot of radio appearances. You got to appease the boosters and alumni, and it's got to kind of have a personality for that. So he
Right.
left, and then UCLA they hired running back, Deshaun Foster, that used to play for them. Man, he's beast. I think maybe their best running back to come out of UCLA, but he's now the head coach, and he had some ties with Eric Bieniemy, so he brought him onto his staff as assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. But he's going to do the play calling. So some opportunity for him, man. Make some money, and who knows? Maybe he decides, hey, I want to be a college coach.
Right. Okay.
So it would have been nice if had he gotten I still think he got short end of the stick in the NFL, but
he did.
Yeah,
that was a bogus. Well, okay. Well, it's good to see that. Hope he can find opportunity, in the college football. I hope, and then maybe that can, maybe catapult him back up to the NFL. I think he should be a head coach somewhere.
I agree. I think he deserves a chance. Now, if you give him that chance and he doesn't produce, oh well. Like you at your job, me at my job, there are standards that we have to meet. There's expectations. Whatever the numbers are, there's different metrics in terms of how we're rated and judged. So if the wins and losses aren't there, and he got his chance, So, but I think he deserves that chance. And hopefully he'll get it. Mm-hmm. Fair chance too. Not some raggedy job where you're looking to rebuild and you don't have any you don't have anything and you don't have any plans of winning anytime soon. We done seen now they do it sometimes. We done seen us being dumped into those jobs, and then man after 18 months, he didn't get it done. Like, yeah, right. You didn't give him a chance to get it done.
You didn't give him that. Yeah, you just threw him through. Yeah, put him in the absolute worst situation and asked him to be successful. So we got Pops in the building. He said, Bob said, you guys look good. Thank you.
All right.
We appreciate
it, Mama. Appreciate it. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But again, man, maybe he can parlay this into getting a head coaching job in college. So
yeah, I'm hoping so. Man.
Yeah.
So you want to go to my favorite topic?
National Basketball Association.
Let's go. You see him?
All right.
Don't watch them when it's a nationally televised game, but you see him. And we'll get to that.
Right. So, man, last weekend was the All-Star weekend. But was it in Indianapolis, I believe, right? Nap time?
Thank you. Thank you, Papa Jones.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was
in the nap.
And I love the nap. Man.
Yeah. We got connections there, man. My I know we drove through that as a kid, but my first time being there, hanging out, man, was when you and Shell stayed out there, man. Went out there a couple Memorial Day weekends in a row, man. So yeah, those stories for another day, man. Some epic, right. But yeah. But so, what are your thoughts overall on All-Star weekend, the festivities, slam dunk 3-point, and the actual game? Do you watch all of that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
The All-Star game, All-Star weekend, I look forward to that every season. Season. I'm one of the believers, right? I thought the skills challenge was cool. I like the way they did that. How they had the Indianapolis Pacers, like 3 of them going against I think it was I don't know if it was Easton, I forgot how they did it. It was like Indian Pacers had a team, and then like the young guys had a team, and then there's another team. They were all-stars or whatever. So I like that that was fun to watch. The 3-point contest, that's always going to be good. And I also like the 3-point contest between Steph Curry and you have to remind me of the young lady's name.
I remember. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I'll butcher her name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. But what I will say, the game itself has turned into a joke. Yeah, I will get to that. I will get to
my sentiments exactly.
I will get to that. So I thought that stuff was cool. Now, what I didn't like, and I haven't liked it for a while, is that dunk contest. Apparently, anybody can be in the dunk contest and win at this point. because the NBA players don't want to do it. Hats off to Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown.
Yeah.
From the from Brooklyn. I was happy to see him in it. That was cool. Well, I'm glad that he did that. And maybe that, you know, hopefully that sets an example for the other guys in the NBA. But that was very disappointing. It was trash.
I agree.
And then it was cool when he won last year because he kind of came out, and I think he was playing for the Bulls at the time. And so I was like, all right, he's an NBA player. I didn't know. You know what I mean? He was just an NBA player that nobody knew about yet. So I was like, all right, he won. And then I saw that, I'm like, he's in the G League?
Yeah, so he was on a two-way contract is what it was. So it was those two-way contracts where basically you got to play X amount of games in the G League, you got to play X amount of games in the NBA. I think it's like maybe NBA is 42. I think the most you can play in the NBA is 41 games. I don't think he's an NBA player. You clearly see he's super athletic, but to me, and we watched this growing up, it was those guys that they were making dunks during the NBA season. Like, and that's like, oh, remember back in November when he dunked on such and such, or he had that fast break and he did the windmill. Yeah, he needs to be in the dunk contest, but you're getting guys that aren't even in the league. So I just think it's a bad setup. And I don't know if you heard this, but Vince Carter last week, he said, I forgot what year it was, but it was himself, Kobe, LeBron, and there was another player, and I cannot remember who it was, but the NBA was offered each one of them $1 million to participate in the dunk contest. And they said LeBron, he said, he didn't say which one, but he said one of them backed out at the last minute, and everyone's saying it was LeBron.
Oh yeah, he ruined the dunk contest.
Yeah,
he ruined it. Skinny Man said Jaylen Brown was trash. So yeah, he was trash. I don't remember a single dunk that Jaylen Brown did. Yeah, I don't remember a single dunk that he did. And you know I was a little litty, so I don't remember all of it. But but yeah, I don't remember anything he did. So there's that. So maybe he won't entice other people for the NBA All-Stars to do it. But I'm sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, but I think the last good slam dunk competition was that Zach LaVine and remember Aaron Gordon when they had their epic match. That was the last good. But after that, and the thing is, a lot of the dunks are the same. They're the same ones we've kind of already seen. You got someone jumping over Shaq, and okay, I mean that's cool. But I just think there's only so much you can do, and especially when these guys are not. Some of these guys aren't even in the league, or one of the guys isn't even in the league. Some of these guys, I don't think your average fan has even heard of. So,
I
don't know. That's gone downhill, which leads to the actual game on Sunday. And like my brother said, I think it's an absolute joke.
Yeah, I do too, man. I do too. So much that I am going to start taking the page out of your book. And my dad's been doing this for the past 10 years and just skip All-Star Weekend altogether. I might watch a celebrity game or something like that because that can be funny, that can be comical. But yeah, dude, I'm sure you got a whole bunch of stuff done during the game because you weren't watching it. Like I'm sure you got 100%. Adulting done, activities done. Maybe you read a book. I just wasted my time, drinking beer and watching a sorry ass game.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. By the time I was done, I was tipsy and tired and went to bed. Time is nothing you'll ever get back. You never get time back.
Never get it back. You got Karl Anthony Towns scoring 50-something points in the All-Star game. He gave up what was it? The East scored 211 points. Like, man, come on.
Trash. To 188.
Right. And leading up to that game, Larry Bird, with it being in Indianapolis and his ties to Indiana, he did wasn't a speech, but it was kind of a presentation or whatever appearance. And one of the things they asked him, what was he looking for? And he said he wants to see both teams play hard. That's what he said. And the commissioner, Adam Silver, he's trying to employ the guys, before leading up to it, to play hard because he knows the disenchantment that's coming from the fans. And to me, they just did the total opposite. It's just kind of like the laissez-faire, like I don't care type of attitude, and they don't care. And I remember the late great Kobe Bean Bryant. He said back in 2019, he said they're going to need to make some adjustments to the All-Star game. He said you have guys in the offseason that go harder in the pickup game at UCLA campus than you have guys in the All-Star game when, you know, you got a billion people watching, or, you know, hundreds of millions of people worldwide that are watching it. So something needs to be done. And I'm just tired of, you know, you got throwing money at the problem. Oh, let's pay these guys more. These guys are making $40-50 million. Like, why do you got to pay them? If they don't want to come there and play hard, get some other guys that will come there and play hard. That's my solution. You don't want to come and ball out, then let's get somebody else there. But it's turned into a joke.
It's turned into a joke, and also, Jig, being all your all-star appearances, that goes on your resume, right? Being an all-star is on your resume. You know, when you're going to the Hall of Fame and all that good stuff, they talk about all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? When they're introducing you for the game, they talk about that. You know, 20-time all-star. You know what I'm saying? Like that means something, right? And for them to get that honor and give the fans that garbage, that's just a slap in the face. And
it is.
They have lost. They have lost a fan of the All-Star. That's, you know, festivities as a whole. I remember those competitive games. You know what I mean? It was about honor. I get it. Every now and then, let the guy go do something cool for the fans. You know what I mean? Like throw it off the backboard. You know, the whole Tracy McGrady thing. You know what I'm saying? But Tracy McGrady did it in a way. They were playing competitive-ish ball when he did that. You know what I'm saying?
He did it in the flow of the game.
He did it in the flow of the game. So, yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know. And some people try to compare it to the NFL All Pro stuff. The NFL is a completely different game. You know what I'm saying? These guys can really get career-ending injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, just the, you know, the way that the game is. Also, it's basketball, dude. Basketball. Like, you know,
you see what the NFL did? They went to flag football. They don't even tackle anymore. Like, and they said that's actually like fans are actually liking that. It's funner. You know, it's some excitement to it. But what's going on in NBA is it's a joke.
It is, and it's got the best of me. What's up, Fahim, man? Appreciate you joining us, brother.
What up, Fahim?
And then we got Will said these younger guys want to be compensated for everything. Yeah, man, they do.
Already.
They do. I don't know what they could do about it though, Chris.
Well, let's talk about that. This compensation. This kind of goes into. Remember that the clip I sent you earlier about Paul Pierce. What did Paul Pierce say? He said, and quote, he said, money in business is ruining basketball on all levels.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that? When you watch that clip, what do you think of that?
I agree to a certain point. I got to see someone with Kenya Martin and Gibbs Arena.
Yep.
Arenas. The money is the driving force behind the game and why these guys play. So you've got that side of it, but it's also the driving force behind why these guys don't want to do the extracurricular things because they, you know, out of fear of getting hurt and things like that. Because they're making so much money, you know, if they go down, you know what happens after that.
Well, so, you're right. You remember Gilbert talked about that too, and I didn't, because you know, you think of load management. I've always blamed the player, but Gilbert made a point of when you started talking about there's so many layers before it gets to the player, from the owner to the, you know, the president of operations or whatever, to the general manager, to the coach, you know, and then you may get with the agent of the player and the player. So there's different layers that you go through with that. And like I said, I've always thought, oh man, this dude just don't want to play.
Right.
I think, you know, they play too many games. It's 82 games. I think 82 games is too long. With the way that the NBA has shifted and these guys sitting out, I don't think playing 82 games is really feasible anymore. I think they need to reduce the number of games that they play. And I feel like the owners are more worried about their investment because these guys are making more money now than ever. Yeah. So, you know, if I'm going to play this guy $300 million, you know, let's sit him out X amount of games a season, you know, kind of protect my investment type of deal. So
Yeah, have them for the playoffs and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. And Arena said a really he said that I don't hear the owners complaining about load management.
Mm-hmm. And
I
he's
don't hear.
right.
Yeah, he's right. You don't hear Mark Cuban complaining about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you could definitely make an argument for that the money in the business is actually ruining the NBA. But I mean, what do? You pay these guys less? So that ain't gonna happen. You know
That's
what I'm
not
saying?
going to happen.
No, they'll go on strike.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Um, so I think the fans have to talk, have to make their
Mm-hmm.
voices heard, and I don't want the NBA to lose fans and lose money because most of the NBA is us. You know what I'm saying? We get to see
Right.
ourselves playing the game, so I don't want them to
Right.
have to lose out. But I mean, I still want to
And
be
they got to
entertained.
do something.
You got to do
And
something.
you well, and then think about this too, man. They're looking to expand and add a couple of teams.
Right?
One in Vegas for sure, and I think maybe bringing the Seattle SuperSonics back. Um,
That'd be cool.
so they have to. And I don't know if you heard, but with that realignment, there would be too many teams on the West. So Minnesota may move to an Eastern Conference. Minnesota and Memphis
I heard
may be
about
the
that.
two teams. Yeah, so they
Yep.
may be in the East if this all falls in line. Which Memphis being in the Western Conference makes zero sense to me. It never made sense to the Wolves being in the Western Conference either. But that's it's a
Right.
whole different subject. But yeah, if you're talking about expanding the league and being in markets like Vegas and up in Seattle stuff,
Seattle.
you got to tighten up on that image, man. You got to me pour more into the league. Both the owners and the players. They need a bigger commitment, a better commitment. So man, we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. What's that? The owners won't go for that. Um, as far as less games, I'm sorry, I put that up late. Um, yeah, I don't think they'll go as far as less games. I'm kind of in the antithesis of playing less games because I'm like,
Mhm.
man, it's always been 82 games.
I
These
agree
legends
with
have
you.
played 82 games, and so what happens to how do we know who is a goat and who isn't? You know what I'm saying? Where does that how's that stack up with? Because
It doesn't.
we already have trouble trying to figure out who's the best of
Mhm.
overall. So
I agree. It's
now,
not going to happen. I was just saying
right,
if they're not going to play, and you know what I mean, if you're going to just rest guys like
right,
it's a joke, no, the owners aren't going to do that because they lose concession. You got TV deals,
right,
you got all that stuff. They're not going to go for that. He's correct.
right, right,
So,
right.
but yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. So, man, when we begin of the season and we said we talk about it at the midpoint, um, I had for the NBA Finals, I had my pick of Boston and Phoenix. I think I had Boston winning in 6 games
This
over
game. Okay.
Phoenix. Yeah, I don't know if you remember who you had for your finals pick.
I probably voted with my heart, or it's not
Yeah,
voted, but said something by heart. I bet you my dumb ass put the Lakers in there.
I think you might have. I
I
think you
probably
was
said,
you
and I think I might have been sipping during those shows.
yeah. I think you said the Lakers, and I thought you said maybe Lakers and the Bucks, but I can't 100% remember. But let's fast forward to right now. Who and everybody that's in the chat, who would you have? Who would be your finals pick as we sit here at a little bit past the midseason point?
I would say I'm going with my head here. Okay.
Okay,
Uh, I would say Denver beating Boston in 6 games.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
Boston's playing the best ball right now in the East. I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
they're they're way in front. I think it's like the closest person to them has won 38 games. Boston's won 45. Um, and so they're on a roll right now. And I think they have it in them to get past the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And Denver knows what they're doing. Denver is on cruise control, and they're still winning. They're still a game,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 games out of first place. The West is kind of tight. Um, so Denver's just on cruise control, just doing what they do, just making sure they're playing within their office and all that good stuff. Um, I think that they'll see Boston. there, I feel bad for Boston. I want Boston to win because I like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but I think Denver will just be too much for them. Who do you have now?
I got Denver and Boston. I got Denver.
Well.
Yeah, Phoenix, they're just not deep enough, and Bradley Beal cannot stay healthy. You know, It's like they get him back. He started the season hurt, and then get him back, he gets hurt again. So I got Denver and Boston, man. An underrated addition in the offseason was Kristaps Porzingis going to Boston. That just adds another him and Drew Holiday. Yeah, that's whole nother level. So I would pick Boston in 7.
Boston in 7. Okay. I like that. A little different than mine. So looks like Papa Jones got Denver and Boston, and Denver wins finals in 6. Okay. All right. Good choice there. It
is. So MVP, I had Giannis as my preseason MVP. As I sit, as we sit here a little bit past the midseason mark, for me, it's neck and neck between Shai Gilgeous Alexander and
we didn't see
Joker. Yeah, did not. Jokic. Right now, man, I would give it to Shai Gilgeous Alexander because we did not see Oklahoma City doing the things that they're doing right now. If you look at that win differential from last season, the kind of stuff we talked about earlier, again, the MVP is such a subjective term.
It's subjective.
And I think if you took him away from Oklahoma City, man, that team is bad. They would drop off, man. I don't even think they would be in the play-in contention or any of that. And I'm scoring. Yeah,
you think with Gideon Holmgren? They got some. They got some pieces, man.
But Shai just takes them to a whole nother level, man. That's a mass. And again, who do they replace him with? Would be the question. But I give him a slight edge over Jokic. But if Jokic won, I wouldn't. I mean, dude's unreal.
Yeah, he does that at his. I hate this term, but he plays at his own speed. He really does. He really does, and it's almost like he's bored out there half the time. But he's just, he's consistent. He's consistently good, and his stats are just unbelievable. The way these guys playing, man. But yeah, I like SAG. Or the SGA, right? SGA.
Yeah.
I like him. I do. I'm biased. Ant-Man should be at least in the conversation.
He should. My only issue with Ant-Man is like what we saw on Friday. Now, obviously, I fell asleep on it, but those are some of the games where Shai Gilgeous Alexander, he closes. Remember when they were playing the Wolves? Yeah, we saw him do it against the Wolves, and I think he sometimes gets calls that Ant doesn't necessarily get, and I think Ant has a little gripe about that. But I want to see Ant take that next that next step. He's to me top 5, top 7, in the MVP conversation. He's right there. But I think just Shai is, I think he's taking his game to a new notch this year, which I didn't see. I didn't see happen. I knew he was cold, but I didn't know he was this nice.
I told you before, I used to think he was just a poor man's John Morant. That's what I thought, and he's obviously a lot better than that. And OKC, they're right there in the mix. They're on the Wolves' tail. Now, the reason why I got Ant-Man in there because nobody saw the Wolves being a number 1 seed. Well,
at all.
Maybe you and Skinny Man said they'd be up there.
I had him top 4. I felt like a year with Rudy and Cat playing together and figuring that out. And then I like you see how deep they are, man, with Kyle Anderson and Nickeil Alexander and just they got a lot of depth and
Morris.
They signed. Yeah, they signed Conley. It looks like Keno's texting me about we were talking about NBA verticals, but he's not on the show, man. Get on the show and talk about these verticals.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Get on the show.
Yeah,
you know where it's at. Come on, man.
You know where it's at. But I just I thought they were a much deeper team, and I think Chris Finch is underrated. Now he got the All-Star game head coach because of their record, but I think he's really underrated. Oh, overall, dude's acumen is really, really good. But I had the Wolves top 4, preseason as far as being in the West. So, it'll be interesting to see if they can hang on to that. They just need to be in that, to me, that upper group. Love to see them get the number 1 seed. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but between them and OKC, who is it? The Clippers is right there. I'm trying to think.
Clippers and Denver.
Denver. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be tough, man. And maybe Sacramento might get hot. So
yeah.
And now in Dallas, Luke and Kyrie, they've won some games, man. They played well and won some games. So
yeah, they're in the mix. I think they're like 5th or 6th right now.
Okay.
That might be 4th or 5th. But I know it's LA, Denver, OKC, Minnesota. So those are top 4 teams.
Okay.
Also, what do you think about? I've heard, whispers of James Harden in MVP conversations. The way he's kind of brought that Clippers team together.
He has. I don't put a whole lot of stock in it. There's other guys I would have, and I'd have Jason Tatum in front of Harden. There's some other guys that I would have, but if you said he was a top 10 MVP candidate, like okay, but I don't see that top group, where I don't see him as a real threat to win it.
Okay. What do you think about the team? How do you think they rank? I mean, obviously they're the number rank right now, but where do you think that if everybody stays healthy, they'll end up?
If everyone stays healthy, I think they'll be in the top 3.
Okay.
I have a feeling, and not just being a homer, but I think OKC might slide a little bit. I could see them being like a 5th seed, but I think your top 3 in no particular order are going to be the Wolves, the Nuggets, and the Clippers. So I think Tyronn Lue, man, I think Ty Lue might be the best coach in the league. Like, I really believe it. I know Greg Popovich is, he's as good as they get, but where we are right now, I think Ty Lue is, man, I think he's criminally underrated. I think that dude's a beast. So
I agree.
I like the guys are playing, Kawhi Leonard's playing not every game, but almost every game, and PG and Harden. And I just, I like the mix of players that they have there. Westbrook, he knows his role. He fits that Clipper team better than he did the Lakers, right? So
agreed. Yep.
I see them being a top 3 seed.
Yeah, they're going to be scary. I wouldn't want to play them in the 7-game series. I really wouldn't. Not with all of them healthy. Not with all of them healthy. No. So, okay.
So man, before we roll out, man, I wanted to get your thoughts and everybody that's in the chat. So I don't know if you heard the news. So Grant Hill is so Jerry Colangelo used to oversee the U.S. Olympic basketball team.
Okay.
And when they were losing, remember after the Dream Team, they had a couple of those other teams. Then they started to suck for a while. They were losing to some teams that they really shouldn't have, and a lot of it people were saying was either the coaching or the roster construction. So Jerry Colangelo retired, and he handed those reins over to Grant Hill. So Grant Hill is now the guy that selects the players and what up, Sam? Yeah. So Grant Hill is in control of that. So he made a decision to not include Draymond Green in the pool of players for the Summer Olympics, which is coming up this summer. I believe it's in Paris, if I remember correctly. So what are your well, before I get your thoughts on that, Draymond wasn't happy about it. He said he was hurt. He said I grew up a big Grant Hill fan. And he said because Grant Hill kind of alluded to everything that had gone on this year, it wasn't like necessarily like he looked at him like a pejorative light or anything like that. He was just saying like recent events and whatnot, just think they're going to go with some other guys. And Draymond was like, I was hurt by this. Like, I felt like, if you didn't think I was good enough to make the team, I would have rather you just let me know instead of publicly saying because of the recent event. So number one, do you think Draymond should be on or be in contention to be on the team? And number two, do you think them holding his it's not even off the court, it's his on the court his on the court transgressions, do you think that should play a factor?
So I'll start with the last part of your question first. Yeah, that should definitely be a factor.
I agree.
Because you have shown a little respect for some of these guys in the NBA, and also, and some of those people are on your own team. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
uh, what if you come in there and you're a cancer to the locker room? Um, that'd be a concern. Uh, I think that he is skilled. He's still skilled enough to be um considered for that, being that pool for the Summer Olympics. Because we got some players on here. Walker Kessler, never heard of
Mhm.
her. I like Austin Reeves. Come on, man. Uh, let's see, Duncan Robinson. You got to be kidding me. Bobby Portis, Derek White. Who?
Derek
No,
White from the Celtics. But I
yeah.
mean, all
I
those
know he
guys,
been
they're
balling
not
out, but
right, but they're not all going to make it. That's just kind
right,
of a pool of it might be 24 or 30 players, and I think they end up cutting it down to 12. So we
right,
know, if LeBron wants to play, he's in, which he's already. I think LeBron's already recruited KD and Steph and Jason Tatum, and I think Dame might play it. So I mean,
right,
it's really about that and getting the right guys. The one thing with the United States. Well, now that Joel Embiid, I know he made some folks upset. He said he's going to play for the United States, so they no longer had that issue of right. So he no longer has that issue of the smaller, being the small centers because you got
right.
Embiid in there in the paint.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That'd be that. So he said he's gonna play for the United States.
Yeah, Joel Embiid. I mean, if he's healthy, that's a wrap. You're not beating them.
No. Yeah, no, you're not
You're
beating
not.
it. No. He's
You're
just
not
getting
beating them. So we
so
got some stuff in the chat. What we got?
yeah, so your pop says tough decision needs to be made. It's not about talent, it's about his adult daycare behavior, period. Amen. Could have said it better myself. Yep.
I agree.
Uh Shell says, I'm in agreement. He should be held accountable for his poor decisions on the court. He's been a cancer. Completely agree. And thank you,
You
Shell, for
can't.
commenting.
I agree. No arguments there. And the
Yeah.
thing is, man, what if you get over there and he smacks some European player, or karate chops? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Then they get disqualified. They're like, man, Draymond, you done messed the medal up, man. We can't even get a medal because you over here smacking guys and stuff. Like, man, come on, man.
He said karate chop is some
Yeah,
European.
man, chop somebody in the groin, man. That dude is that arcade thing I sent you, man, where he was doing them WWF moves, spoof flexing and man, jumping over the arm bar and jumping off the turnbuckle and all that stuff, man. Like, come on, man. It was a liability. You can't risk that, man. We're in foreign waters, man, and international. They're not going to be going for that.
He's not gonna be going.
Sis, you know it. Like, come on. They're not going to be going for that. No way.
No, they're facts. He could start a world war.
For real.
He gotta be
Man.
cool. And
Yeah,
then,
man, he hit one of the French players, and then they take it out on the French swimming team, take it out on the U.S. swimming team.
right.
Like, no,
It
man,
just,
like, man, we gonna get you back for what Draymond did on the basketball court. So
fact. So, with that being said, do you think Draymond should feel offended that he's not on the team?
nah, I mean, he's been in the Olympics before. I just think there are better players right now. Like, I think if you look at that Golden State roster, like you see Clay got moved to the bench. Draymond could easily be moved to that bench too. Like, I think he's getting into that territory where his minutes should be cut, and 25, 28 minutes a game. I don't think he's the guy that needs to be playing upper 30s and all of that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I feel that he's at the downside of his career. He's like he's like COVID. He's the cancer. He'll spread that. Um.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess see that he's in the downside of his career, and maybe this Walker Kessler person is a better choice, or would be a better
Well,
choice.
Walker Kessler's nice, man. He played at Carolina for a year, then he transferred to Auburn, and he actually, the Wolves drafted him, And the Wolves, he was one of the centerpieces of that trade that got Rudy Gobert to Minnesota. So he was actually on the Wolves roster. So yeah, when they made that trade, they had to include Walker Kessler. So I mean, he's a good, solid rotational player.
Okay.
But I just think, you know, not to diminish what Draymond does, but yeah, if Embiid plays and he's healthy, which he says he's going to play, you're not beating that United States. I mean, Curry and Dame Lillard and LeBron and Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid and Bam Adebayo and you name it, you're not beating that squad, you know.
No,
so
nah. Would you put Edwards on that team? I know he's in the pool.
Anthony Edwards would definitely be on that team. I mean, he adds something. Like you look at the guys that we just named that I just named, none of them can go. They don't have those fresh legs like Anthony Edwards has. Man, he can slice to the basket, man. That's where you get your points in the paint. You know, you got KD hitting the threes. You got LeBron. LeBron can play really 1 through 4, 1 through 5, depending on who the opposition is. So yeah, he's definitely on the team. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I when you said I pulled up the pool. I'm like, okay, we got some hitters in here.
We do.
But yeah, man, throwing Embiid on there,
it's a wrap.
Now, what team did we have difficulty with last summer?
Oh man, I cannot remember which team that was.
Was it
I have to look it up. It might have been. I don't remember if it was Luka or I have to look it up, man.
Okay. Yeah, I know. The team Joker was on that they were pretty formidable. I can't say the word.
Formidable, yes.
Formidable, yes.
Yes.
They were pretty formidable too. So, and yeah. So, I mean, but we have to assemble teams like this now to give us a shot. You know what I mean? Because anything can happen. I don't think did we even get bronze?
I don't think.
But then they came in fourth. I think we lost the bronze game. But don't quote me on that.
I believe you're right. Yeah, I believe you might be right.
But yeah. Draymond, he did that to himself. It's sucks for 100%. Him. I mean,
like and he's played before, so I don't feel bad for him. He's right. Played in the Olympics before. I don't feel bad. I think he won a gold medal if I remember correctly. So I don't. It is what it is.
Yep, for sure.
So man, are we back on Thursday?
We are. Yep. We back Thursday, our regular scheduled time, and I think we should be good. Just depending on if you got to work late or whatever.
Okay.
I don't have anything crazy coming up in the next few weeks, so we should be good at least for a month.
All right, bet. Hey, we appreciate everybody that jumped in the chat and participated, and the folks that are going to listen to it later on, and play it later. We definitely appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate the participation in the chat and everybody for joining. Please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I think we are the Lakers still playing?
They're still playing. Yep.
Okay. Are they up? Are they up?
No, I believe they're down, but I think it's close. So
okay, good. I can live with that. All right, I'm gonna check out the game, man.
All right, my man.
You have a good night, and I will see you Thursday.
All right, talk to you later. Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.